Yo, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Hearts, and today I'll be breaking down the 12-game NBA slate we have here on DraftKings for Wednesday night. So if you're new to the channel, hit that like button and subscribe. Turn that notification bell. My name is Hart, and I do daily slate breakdowns for the NBA and NFL here on DraftKings, where I talk through my favorite spin-up plays, mid-range options, and value plays, and then I go more in depth in my free Patreon, which you can find linked down below, about the whole slate, how I want to attack it, my core plays, my building blocks, all that good stuff. The core plays have been great recently, so make sure to check that out. Hit that like button, and I'll see you guys in this slate breakdown. Yeah, so we got a big 12-gamer here, guys. Starting off with Memphis and Charlotte, looking like the best game environment here on the slate. So for Charlotte, or excuse me, the Memphis side, John Morant 10-1. I think it's a very solid price tag. We saw him go off for 55 fantasy points that last game versus Sacramento. Memphis has not been the best recently in terms of games. You know, they've been a little bit up and down, but love Ja there in this game environment. I do like Desmond Bane a little bit here. He's seen close to 30 minutes the past 3 games, so it looks like he's pretty close to being off a minutes limit. I mean, he's shooting the ball a ton, has pretty solid upside. So 6,700, he's now worth a look for me. I'm not sure if I'm going to get there, but really like both those guys at the top. And then I'll mention Jaren Jackson Jr. He's always worth a tournament look. Has the upside, still really hasn't seen 30 more minutes. I'm not really sure why. I mean, he is foul prone. Maybe they're still taking a little bit of a minutes limit on him. But yeah, he's huge upside there. He's really good when it comes to the blocks and steals. So love all three at the top. I mean, my main interest is going to be Ja. I'm not sure if I'll get to Bane or Jaren Jackson Jr., but they're there. And then the rest of the guys are more secondary plays, like Steven Adams. Sure, you can get to him. He's had 3 straight games of 40 or more fantasy points, so I'm sure people would chase that. Not the best matchup, you know. Plumlee is on the other side. He has been playing more minutes, so maybe that raises the floor for a guy like Steven Adams, makes him a little bit safer of a play. But, you know, maybe Charlotte goes a little bit smaller. Maybe Steven Adams doesn't have, you know, close to 30 minutes in him. Maybe you could see only 20, 25. But yeah, he looks like a decent tournament option. I don't think there's a need to really go to anyone else. Even with Brandon Clark out, I mean, sure, you can look to Xavier Tillman, who should see the backup center run, maybe play 10 to 15 minutes. Santi's out. It hurts Tillman a little bit. They'll throw in Conchar, they'll throw in Jones, Roddy, Tillman. They don't mind going small. So really, if, you know, Aldama's out, it raises the kind of my interest in a guy like Tillman there. Kind of foul prone, but 3,100, you know, with Aldama out, with Brandon Clark, or if Aldama's out and Brandon Clark's out, it makes Xavier Tillman a very solid value play. It would definitely raise the floor of a guy like Steven Adams, so maybe he'd become even a better tournament option there. So yeah, good amount of interest in Memphis on Charlotte. I like LaMelo Ball at 10-2. Kind of seems like we're getting him at the top of his price point. So, I mean, he has the upside. He's been great recently. I'd just rather get to a guy like Ja, who is a little bit safer ceiling there and floor. The rest of the team, you know, Kelly Oubre is going to be out for the next, I think, month. So guys like Rozier, Hayward going to have to step up. PJ, all these other guys are going to have to step up here. Big news is Hayward. He is questionable. If he's out, then I do like loading up on some of these value guys, like a Jaden McDaniels, or excuse me, Jalen, who should see probably close to 30 minutes. Not the best point per minute guy, but 4,400, you know, he's going to be playing very solid minutes. If Cody Martin is back, I expect him to be on a minutes limit. So I don't think you would have to get there at 4,100, but maybe they throw in guys like Kai Jones. Maybe they even go down lower to a Maladon, JT Thor. I mean, they're going to be probably playing their starters big minutes. So that's kind of the big news there, is Gordon Hayward really changes up kind of the whole dynamic of that Charlotte side. Good thing it's, you know, one of the first games. For Phoenix and Cleveland, Phoenix side, Devin Booker's still out, so Chris Paul, Bridges, and Ayton are going to lead the team. Not the best matchup here, obviously going against Cleveland. Prefer getting to Ayton and Bridges, but Chris Paul's there. Yeah, don't mind those guys. The rest of the team, you know, Cam Payne is back. He saw 18 minutes. You know, kind of takes the guards out of play. Everyone's just kind of there. Really no standout plays for me on this Suns side besides the main 3 guys. Cleveland side, obviously Donovan Mitchell was a core play yesterday. He went off for 102 fantasy points. That was great. But now these 9,600, I really don't have any interest in him. I mean, Garland is doubtful, so sure, you could pay for Donovan Mitchell. Maybe he continues the hot streak there in terms of shooting the ball. Obviously, can't expect him to go for another huge game like that, but you can definitely go to him at 9,600. Don't mind it. Garland, most likely doubtful, so kind of have to wait on that Mobley news. If he's out, I do like going to Allen. Does make this game a little bit more competitive for the Sun side. If Mobley's back, don't really love the bigs. Would rather go down to maybe a Karis LeVert who should start again. Should be, play big minutes. He has huge upside. It's just if he can hit a shot. Last game he did not. So I think LeVert right now is going to be my favorite play until we get that Mobley news. Seti, will be a decent option off the bench. Should play pretty solid minutes. And that's really about it. Moving on to OKC. Super frustrating team. They're blowing out the Celtics right now. SGA was ruled out tonight because of illness. So it'll be interesting to see if he plays tomorrow. If he doesn't, obviously Josh Giddey looks fantastic there at 7-1. If SGA is back, it's really just going to be SGA for me. Then maybe a Lou Dort there, who does have some upside. I think he's gone off for like 40 fantasy points tonight. So he does have that upside, but with SGA back, it's really just going to be him and Lou Dort. But if SGA is out, we can look to Giddey, who looks like a fantastic play. He'll probably be very, very super popular. Dort will be good. I mean, all these OKC guys will look good. It's a decent matchup versus Orlando. Should stay close. Hopefully no blowout risk. But yeah, if SGA's out, Giddey's going to lead the team. Dort will step up. He'll shoot a ton. Jalen Williams is there. I mean, I don't mind the price tag, but I'd rather get to these cheaper guys like a Trey Mann, who should come off the bench, shoot the ball a ton. He's going to look to score. He's pretty score independent, but he's hitting his shot. 3,700, he looks pretty solid. Kendrick Williams, one of those guys who will do a little bit of everything. He's not going to go out there and score like 25 points, but he can definitely go out there and get you like 12, 5, and 5. So he looks very, very solid there. Who else we got here? Wiggins, Isaiah Joe. They're both having huge nights tonight as well. They're both kind of scoring independent. The same thing, kind of like Trey Mann, all three of them. Pretty score independent guys, but, if they're going to get the minutes, which they were tonight, they could definitely get there. So we'll have to wait for the SGA news because it does really change up the whole dynamic of that OKC side. For Orlando, I like Paolo here, 8,000. Very, very good matchup here. Even with Wendell back, don't mind going to Paolo. Wolfowitz up to 6,600. Don't think you need to do that. Franz is suspended for this game. Wendell, it'll be interesting to see how many minutes he plays. I still think he's going to be on some sort of minutes limit. If he's not, I really like him at this price tag. But if he is, don't think you need to go there. Suggs is questionable. Looks like he practiced, but don't think there's a need to go there. Bol is questionable as well. So yeah, maybe they're going to be shorthanded once again, even with some of these guys coming back. But right now, it's going to be focused on Paolo, Wendell, if he's off the minutes limit. Bol is good to go. Don't mind him if he starts. Cole Anthony, I think he looks like the best play right now, 5,300. Should play close to 30 minutes. Pretty solid point per minute guy. So I like him the best. Mo Bamba, sure, if Bobo's out, you can look to him off the bench. Maybe we can go one of these guards like a Gary Harris. Don't love it, but we kind of have to wait for the news of Jalen Suggs, Bobo, kind of see who they start and kind of go from there. But right now, I do think I'm going to throw in, where'd he go? I'm going to throw in Cole Anthony and then kind of go from there. Indiana and Philly, obviously a tough matchup here for Indiana. Halliburton, love him at this price tag. I mean, even in tough matchups, as you saw versus Toronto, decent game, 37 fantasy points. Can't complain about that. Obviously, you want a little bit more from his price tag there, but don't mind going to Halliburton. We know he has huge upside. So, in a competitive game, he should see mid-30s minutes. Turner, just more of a contrarian play there. He's stayed out of foul trouble the past, week or so, but going up against Embiid, don't love that. Buddy Hield, he's just kind of there for me. He just goes through these stretches where, he's very, very bad for like a week or two, and he turns it on for like 4 or 5 games, and then he gets, it's just up and down. So if you want to try to ride the high streak there with Buddy, you can definitely do that. And the rest of the team, more of just secondary options, like sure, Matherin's always a tournament option. Naismith's been starting. Sure, he can have a decent game, but no real standout plays for me here on the Indiana side besides kind of the 2/3 guys at the top. For Philly, love the matchup here for Embiid, 11-2. Looks fantastic here. Another smash spot for Embiid going against Miles Turner. Harden looks very solid at 9-8. He's just playing a massive amount of minutes, so really like both the guys at the top. It helps with Maxey coming off the bench for a guy like Harden. Kind of keeps his floor and ceiling, kind of intact. That's really it. The rest of these guys are more just secondary options. Really no need to get to them unless we get like a random guy ruled out, like a Harden was the last game. But yeah, right now it's just the 2 guys at the top. Really prefer Embiid right now going against Indiana. And then let's move on to the Spurs. We have Spurs versus the Knicks. Johnson, Vassell, they're both there. Obviously, Vassell is questionable. With him possibly being ruled out, we can, sure, we can look to Keldon. Not the best price point, really hasn't flashed huge upside in a while recently. So don't mind it. Podol, you just really hope he gets some minutes. He's been productive recently, so I don't mind going back to him there at 5,900. Probably my favorite play. If Vassell's out, you can look to Trey Jones, who's should pick up the slack in terms of just assist upside. That's really it. I mean, Jeremy, he's been decent. Just not a lot of interest on this Spurs side. On the Knicks side, I mean, Randall, sure. I mean, look at his box score the past month, especially the past week. It's insane. So he looks like a very solid spin-up play. He's playing massive amount of minutes. Obviously, a fantastic matchup here. Last game versus Spurs 3 games ago, almost 70. So, yeah, I mean, can't really complain about Randall. It seems like he's going to be going off for 60 or 70 every game right now. So he looks very, very solid. I haven't played him yet. I don't think I want to because I know the one time I do, he's going to go for like 20 fantasy points and get like thrown out. But, yeah, he looks very, very good from a DFS perspective, even at that price tag. Brunson, he looks very solid. I mean, he saw 39 minutes. 35 before that. So the minutes are just huge on these starters right now. So I really like Brunson in this matchup. Just really hope this game stays close. Quickly did start alongside Brunson with Barrett out. So you can definitely look to him. I don't love him at that price tag, especially when he's starting. But, he could have some upside there. Grimes, it does hurt Grimes a little bit with quickly being in the starting lineup. He'll kind of be that fifth option. So it's really just going to be the main two guys for me on this Knicks side with Brunson and Randall. Sure, you can take a contrarian shot on a quickly or Grimes. Don't love it. Robinson's price is kind of creeped up. He does have a huge upside if you can stay out of foul trouble. But, the Spurs could go, smaller. Even with Podol at center, he's a little bit smaller, quicker than Robinson. So maybe he gets phased out of this game. We'll have to see. But, yeah, I really don't think there's a need to go to the value guys there. Milwaukee and Toronto. We got Giannis 11-9. I mean, he's gotten 3 straight 40-point games. He has one right now tonight. Not the best matchup here going against Toronto, so just more of a contrarian spin-up option for me. No real priority to get to him. Drew Holiday came off the bench tonight. We'll have to see if he starts tomorrow. 8-1, I think he'd be my favorite play there. Bobby Portis, Brook Lopez. I think I prefer getting to Brook Lopez. He's having a huge night tonight. Same with Bobby. So just based on the price points in the matchup, I think I prefer getting to Holiday and Brook Lopez there. And then Bobby would be probably my third favorite. Rest of the team, don't think there's a need to get to any of those guys as value plays. For Toronto, Pascal looks solid in this matchup, 10-3. Van Fleet, I do like him a good amount, 7-3. Not the best matchup with Drew Holiday if he starts guarding him. You can get to these secondary plays, of course. Scotty Barnes, when he's very low owned, plays 40 minutes, goes off for 50 bomb. But the game before that, when I think he was like 11% owned, even with Van Fleet being ruled out, and he only went up for 29. And of course, I play him there. Super frustrating, but OG, he had a very solid game as well. So they're playing huge minutes to their starters, so they're definitely worth a look. Not like a priority, but they're definitely worth a look because of the huge amount of minutes they're playing. So I will say that. And then that's really it. Sure, you could take a shot on Boucher. Minutes haven't been great on him with those main guys back. And then moving on to the last half of the games, Brooklyn versus Chicago. As I mentioned with Chicago, every time it seems like they're giving the opposing team's star players like career games. So Durant 10,000 looks way too cheap here. Kyrie at 8,800, he's been fantastic the past month, the past 12 games, so they both look great. I really like Claxton, 6,300. He has huge upside, especially going against Vooch defense. Ben Simmons seems a little bit too cheap, so I really, really like all these Brooklyn guys. Just really hope this game stays close because they've been absolutely killing everyone in the NBA right now, so they all look very, very solid. For Royce O'Neal's out, we can definitely look to TJ Warren and Seth Curry as decent value plays off the bench. He could also get to Joe Harris, who's pretty score independent. But yeah, really, really, really like the Brooklyn guys. On the Chicago side, DeRozan's been great. I just don't love the price tag, especially in this matchup here. I mean, it's a great matchup for him. I just don't love the price tag. Prefer getting to a guy like Vooch or Zach, with probably more of my interest going to a guy like Vooch in this matchup. He should be able to feast on Claxton defense, but we'll never know. And then in terms of value, Pat Williams looks decent. Isle looks okay. White, Caruso, Drummond's questionable. Yeah, it's really just kind of this main three for me, and that's really it. Houston and the Pelicans. For Houston, really the interest only for me is probably going to be in Jabari Smith here. Should see 32-ish minutes if the game's close. He has good upside, so I think he's my favorite play there at 4,800 right now. The rest of the guys are there. KPGA has upside. Jalen Green does as well. Sengun has, these random games where he's really good and then games where he's really bad. So no need there for me. Eric Gordon, decent value play there, 3,800. It does have some upside, but just kind of there. That's really it for me on the Houston. For the Pelicans, Zion's out, Ingram's out, so CJ looks like a very, very solid spin up here going against Houston. So I don't mind locking him in there. J-Val, great matchup here against Houston. You just really hope he gets close to 30 minutes. It does help that Larry Nance is ruled out once again. So really, really like J-Val there in this matchup against Houston, 6,300. We know he's massive upside. So they're probably going to start CJ, J-Val, Herb Jones, Najee, and probably Trey Murphy. And then off the bench, they'll bring Jose, Hernan Gomez, Hayes, and maybe a little Graham or Daniels. So the bench guys, you can take a shot on Hernan Gomez. Hayes, they'll both see around like 20-ish minutes. Alvarado, sure, you can get there. But really for me, it's just going to be a guy like CJ, J-Val, and I do really like Trey Murphy here. He should be the lead kind of like second, third option for this team. Very good shooter. Najee, I think he looks decent. Should see mid-20s minutes, closer to 30s with those guys being, with Zion now be ruling out. He'll probably start. Herb Jones should play the a good amount of the game as well. So I do have interest in these cheaper value guys for the Pelicans. Moving on to Portland, Minnesota. We have Dame 9,700. Great matchup here going against Minnesota. Grant, look at decent contrarian option there. He has those games, but he's pretty score independent when the whole team's healthy. Simons coming off a very solid game as well. So they're good secondary options. They're going to shoot the ball a good amount. I just prefer getting to Dame because he's a little bit safer, even at that price tag of 9,700. Nurkic, if he's good to go, I do like him here in this matchup. Has huge upside. It's just, if he gets close to 30 minutes, he's another one of those center plays where his minutes aren't always guaranteed. So he's definitely still risky, even at that, pretty appealing price tag. Eubanks, should start if Nurkic is out, but it looks like Nurkic is good to go. Gary Payton's back, only saw 13 minutes. He is questionable. No real need to go to any of these value plays. It's, just kind of go to one of the starters. That's it for me. Minnesota side, Towns still out, so Anthony Edwards' price hasn't moved, still has the same upside there, so I do like him at 9,400. D'Lo was out that last game with the illness, should be back this game, so I don't mind him. It doesn't really hurt Anthony Edwards with D'Lo coming back. He'll still see the same amount of usage. Gobert, more of a contrarian play here. The minutes just haven't been great on him. He's been horrendous, so if you like to buy low-end players, Gobert is probably the best option on the slate in terms of guys who've been horrendous recently. You can definitely look to him. And then the rest of the guys, more secondary options, like Kyle Anderson had a great game last game. Really helps that D'Lo was out. Same thing with McDaniels. So don't think there's a need to really get to any of these guys. Naz Reid should be back. I mean, you could look to him. They have been playing him alongside Gobert. So don't love the price tag, but he definitely has some upside. Noel is kind of priced up a little bit too high for me, with him starting that last game. But yeah, really only have interest in D'Lo and Anthony Edwards. And if you want to get, risky with Gobert, you can definitely go to him. Detroit and Golden State. It's kind of the same breakdown with these Detroit guys as it is every slate. I mean, they're pretty cheap. They have decent upside. It's just, you really never know which one it's going to be. It only seems like it's one per slate for these Detroit guys. I mean, Bogdan and Ivy are going to lead the team in terms of usage. Bogdan's pretty score independent. Ivy, his minutes really haven't been close to 30. Hayes, his minutes have probably been the best besides a Bogdan. So you can definitely look to him. With him back, it definitely hurts the upside of a Burks, hurts the upside of a Bay off the bench. Bagley is out, so that definitely helps a guy like Isaiah Stewart. He should see at least 30 minutes, hopefully a little bit more. So I do have a good amount of interest in him there because Bagley was eating into Stewart's minutes the past few games, especially if he got into early foul trouble. They just kind of rode Bagley because he was doing well. So it definitely helps with Bagley being out now that, Stewart should see a good amount of minutes. Helps Jalen or Duren right there. So I do think the two bigs are my favorite plays, followed by Killian Hayes. Right now I'm going to throw in Isaiah Stewart. Moving on to Golden State. Steph obviously is still out. Jordan Poole looks pretty solid there, 8,300. 2 back-to-back very good games from him. Klay Thompson, best game of the season. 21 and 39, 46 points, 74 fantasy points. So we get another good matchup here. So I don't mind riding with Klay, even at that elevated price tag. He's been good recently, and him and Poole are going to shoot the ball a ton. The rest of these guys, more secondary options. Draymond's been great recently. DiVincenzo's been solid. So you can definitely go to them. They're playing a good amount of minutes. Even Looney, playing solid minutes. But at that price tag for Looney, don't love it. Rather get to the other 4 guys with the main 2 kind of the only interest for me. Moving on to the last 2 games, we got Miami versus LA. We got Jimmy 9,000 with kind of everyone back. Don't really love it. It's a very solid matchup. So matchup based, I do think Bam would be my favorite play right there at 8,700, even though the price tag's not the best. It's really just don't love the price tag of any of these guys here. So I don't really think there's a need, priority to get to any of them. If you want to take a shot on a guy, I would suggest Victor. Don't know if we can expect, 35 minutes and then 30. I'd say closer to around 25, but if he gets any more than that, that's great. He's been, pretty productive when he's been out there. So I think he'd be my favorite play there at 4,700. Otherwise, the price tags really aren't great on the Miami guys. For LA, LeBron's been fantastic. So if you want to pay up for him, you definitely can. I just don't love the matchup here. So I do think they're going to play very slow. They're going to try to get the ball out of LeBron's hands. So I don't think he's my favorite spend up on this slate, or even in like the top couple for me. Prefer going into some other guys. Russ, what can I say? He was 7% owned that last game. Got injured. Once again, 7,600 should be pretty low owns. We know he has a huge upside. It's just, can he play close to 30 minutes? If he does, he should have a very, very solid game. So still have a good amount of interest in Russ. I just know he'll be like 7% owned again, and he'll shoot like 1 of 20. But yeah, I'm already prepared for that pain. Thomas Bryant coming off of 2 very good games. Don't love the matchup here against a Bam. Very, very good defender. So right now the interest is just going to be in Russ for me, and then maybe LeBron if you want to get a little bit riskier as a spend up play. The rest of the guys are just there. Reeves had his best game of the season randomly in 22 minutes. Yeah, there's no interest for me in these Laker guys. And then the last game, Atlanta and Sacramento. Probably the second best game environment on this board, besides that first game and the Charlotte and Memphis game. But yeah, Atlanta, Trae Young looks decent here. Has massive upside. Same thing with Murray. He's very solid upside as well. They're just both kind of there for me. Capela's still out, so Collins is going to start. Okongwu is going to start. They've both been very solid recently, so you can definitely look to them. Don't mind it. But I still kind of just prefer getting to the guards. But these guys are going to be playing very solid minutes, so you can definitely look to them. And off the bench, they're going to throw in Hunter. He should start, but yeah, they're throwing Hunter, Griffin, Johnson. It's really just going to be the 2 main guards for me, and then maybe John Collins. And then on the Sacramento side, Sabonis, I think he had 13, 8, and 5 or something like that, close to halftime tonight. So he looks fantastic here in this matchup. 10-4, really, really like him if you can fit him in. There's a lot of good center plays tonight, or for tomorrow night's slate. So, Embiid, Sabonis, really like anchoring your lineup around them, because there are some cheaper options we could definitely go to build a nice balanced approach. But yeah, love him. Fox, price tag, looks decent. Don't mind it. We'll have to see kind of how these guys finish out tonight. Herter, always worth a tournament look there at 5,300. He has pretty solid upside. Barnes, Monk, Murray, they're all there. Monk's always a solid option, but I think he's having a terrible night tonight. So maybe if he's very low owned, you can definitely buy low on him tomorrow. Trey Lyles will be a decent tournament option as a value play there at 3,300, but really just prefer getting to Sabonis and then maybe Herter and that tournament option of a Monk. So yeah, that's going to do it for the slate breakdown. Hope you guys liked the video. If you do, hit that like button. Check out my Twitter for updates, and then check out my free Patreon link down below for the core plays in the slate write-up. But yeah, to finish out this lineup, obviously there's a ton of news. There's going to be a ton of news that comes out tomorrow for this 12-game slate, so it's going to be super hectic. Don't expect this lineup to hold up, but let's just, finish this lineup for the sake of the video. So 5,600 left over. Let's see who we can throw in here for this video for the lineup. We're going to go to, Troy Murphy. I do like that play there with Zion being rolled out. He looks pretty solid. Should see a good amount of shooting or of attempts. Small forward. Let's see here, 6,000. You could definitely load up on like a guy like Marshall. Don't mind playing both him and Murphy in that Pelicans matchup. You could go to one of these OKC guys. So we'll throw in a Ludor. We'll go to a Levert, with Garland most likely doubtful, and then 6,600 left over. You can get to, don't really love these options here in this mid range. Pay down a little bit for someone. Don't love that. So let's go back up a little bit. Meh. Let's go back down. Sorry about that. We're going to go down to where should I think maybe if SGA is out again, we can go up to Josh Giddey there. Throw him in 500. We have to take away. Let's just take Cole Anthony away for right now. Obviously, we have to wait for this news. We don't know if SGA is going to be playing or not. But with 4,800 left over, definitely get back to a Najee Marshall. Victor. I'll just throw in Victor for right now. So yeah, not in like my favorite lineup in terms of like these mock lineups for these videos, but a ton of news. We'll have to wait for this 12-game slate. Once again, if you guys hit that like button, do greatly appreciate it. I'll see you guys in my next video and my Twitter. So thank you guys, and I'll see you guys later. Peace.